Hello everyone, welcome back to one more level of Mentos Plays Cloudberry Kingdom. We got really close to my goal of 1 million on the last episode, and so I am jumping right back in here. This is recorded literally moments after stopping the recording of the last episode, and we will probably only do one run in this, whether for better or for worse, just because I don't know how much time I have to record right now. And I do have some other stuff that I want to do coming up here shortly, which I probably should have thought of before starting this recording. As well as, if you remember yesterday, I mentioned Empty started streaming, so I don't want to miss too much of his Spelunky stream. I believe he is playing the 360 version. I don't believe he has the PC version yet. But even still, it would be nice to watch. And we are going to run down through here. So last episode, Cloudberry Kingdom kind of became Mentos rants about anything and anything, everything and anything that comes to mind. I could see that being the case with this episode as well, because honestly this is a game where, as I mentioned, talking about the gameplay isn't really all that interesting. I mean, there's nothing wrong with talking about the gameplay, but for the most part, in a hard platformer like this, all you're really saying is pretty much, I'm running, I'm jumping, I'm running, I'm jumping, oh, I got all the coins! And, you know, that's good at times, but to have a whole episode comprised of me just saying that I'm running, jumping, and collecting coins would be rather boring. So, you can enjoy my gameplay while I talk about other stuff, which may or may not be Cloudberry Kingdom, or maybe something else. Whichever the case is, you can tell my feelings on this game by the fact that I am playing it obsessively for a high score. And we will just kind of continue on through the levels. Me and my friend have talked about possibly starting to develop a game. We have a pretty detailed idea of what we want to do. With it. But whether that's going to come to fruition or not, who knows. I hope it does, because I really want it to happen. It's just a matter of getting good enough with several things, such as, you know, me learning enough C# to really help him with programming, because he can't do everything by himself, and I don't really know anything about programming just yet. Obviously not a good starting point for a game, but oh, come on, I just want that gem. I am losing way too many lives on such an early level, especially considering how easy this just was once I got it down. Yep, I should not have died even once on that level. Level 16. Oops. Now that was just foolish of myself. I literally jumped right into those flying little skull balls. You know what, we're just gonna real quick restart the run, because this is going rather poorly to begin with, and we all know that I'm better than that. Ooh, no! Missing the very first coin is not a good thing. Ready? Go! Thank you. Admittedly, this level is starting off much easier, although that laser took me by surprise. And this one has some clouds, which means I have to be careful that there are no coins hidden in the clouds. Happily there weren't. So yeah, got this idea for a game that I think would be really cool if I can get it made. So, for the moment I'm going to keep kind of hush-hush on the details of what we're thinking about, but once we actually get under kind of full swing of development, which will hopefully happen before too long, then we can talk about what we're developing, where we're going with it, what our plans are in order to make it work, that kind of stuff. I guess I don't have a choice. I have to accept defeat on that one. Sometimes you can beat defeat by just trying harder. This was not one of those times. But yeah, I do plan on trying to get work on that a little bit more actually underway, instead of just in a kind of thought and planning stage before long, because it's going to take quite a while probably to put together. It's going to be a very, and the kind of game plan that we have right now is not exactly a small little thing. I think you guys will enjoy it if it comes to exist. Obviously, if, development kicks off well and we're doing well with it, you'll probably see some kind of development videos or preview videos of it on my channel. If we do a Kickstarter, which I'm getting way ahead of myself now, a game that's not even development yet, and I'm talking about that. But I am kind of planning for, if this starts to become something that we think is really great, then I'm going to try to take as long on development as I can to make it the best it can be. It's not something I'm too worried about, but I do want to do my best to put together a great game if I do, and if we do push through with this well. It's going to be very randomized. I'll say that much. The plan for it is to have... This is another run going poorly. We're going to restart one more time. But the plan is to have a whole lot of randomization in it, because I feel like that makes not only for more replayable games, but more interesting games, since you can watch someone else play and have them have an entirely different game than what you just went through. So the plan is for it to be highly randomized. The exact details of what kind of game it is and everything, those I'll keep quiet on for now, because if this gets under development, don't really want to have the idea out there for anyone who's much, much better at programming than me, who just doesn't have an idea for a game to take. I know there aren't very many people who are that, nefarious, but there are people like that out there, and this is the internet where all of them have the ability to hear about things. So, random link to my video that someone sees and goes, huh, he's talking about this? And suddenly, my plans could be ruined. But anyway, off the topic of theoretical games that may or may not be developed sometime in the near future, in terms of games that are being developed, yeah, by this point I have probably posted my Legend of Dungeon beta gameplay, which was much poorer than my gameplay in the latest alpha, but was also very fun. I do plan on posting my Paranautical Activity episode that has been skipped for a while into YouTube's. But yeah, I do plan on posting that one episode that got kind of missed. That'll probably be up probably before this video, which makes this kind of temporally confusing, I'm sure, to listen to, but, what can you do? It's the horrors of having to record at a buffer. In all reality, though, I am very excited to play more Paranautical Activity. As I mentioned in the last one, they got a Kickstarter going. They've got, obviously, their Greenlight campaign ongoing. That's the one thing about... That's the one thing about Legend of Dungeon, is it has already been through the Kickstarter process, already been through the Greenlight process, so playing that is literally just watching the game unfold. With Paranautical Activity, there's kind of the rare situation where there's a Kickstarter where you can be extremely familiar with the gameplay that you're expecting to pledge to it, and have a chance to pick it up. Furthermore, if you haven't played Paranautical Activity, you do get a copy right away if you pledge over at the cost of the game on the Humble Store or above. So feel absolutely free, if you are at all interested in those videos I've made, to stop on by the Kickstarter and help them out. Their goal is only 10,000, which they're at this rate gonna reach in no time. But they have some stretch goals up to 30,000, and anything beyond that is pretty much just gravy and more things and more polish that can be added to the game. So definitely, if you enjoy my videos and you haven't picked up Paranautical Activity yet, that is easily the best way to go about picking it up, because you're not only getting a copy of the game, but you're helping them to develop it further in a more direct way, I guess you could say, than, or at least I think it's more direct way. I'm not sure really if they get a bigger cut of the money from Kickstarter or from the Humble Store or Desura, but regardless, back to the point I was making, you know, if you toss them the money in the Kickstarter, you're not only going to be going to help them out money-wise, but also to help fund the production of the game into higher levels. I did just realize one thing as I was talking about that. They've actually got it, I believe, so that you get the copy of the game instantly when you pledge. I think. So if their funding goal doesn't get met in the long run, I'm wondering how that'll work out. If all those pledges will be kind of lost in terms of the money on them, and the game stays active, or what. But I'm also not sure how exactly they're sending them out, if it is right away or not. I'm not sure, because unfortunately, I am a bit tighter on disposable income right now than I would like to be. And so I'm kind of hesitant to pledge anything relevant to the Kickstarter. But I do want to try to get something together for it. Although after today, where I am extremely upset at the way I was treated by my boss, I don't really know if I'm going to be working at my current job for much longer, and if not, that'll just make the money situation even tougher. But, c'est la vie. Pretty much, yeah, I had seen a physical copy of the schedule that had said that I was off on Sunday yesterday, and apparently one of my managers had mentioned that he was going to change it to where I was on for Sunday, and I didn't notice that, and I didn't look to see what time I was on for Sunday on the day I didn't work on Friday, because on Thursday when I left, the old schedule was posted before it was updated, at least to the best of my knowledge, unless I was hallucinating that day, which I guess is, you know, theoretically possible. But yeah, so the schedule that was posted didn't have me listed for Sunday yet, so I assumed that it wasn't starting until the next week, and then I overslept and didn't get the phone call until like 1:30 when I was supposed to be there at 7:45, and yeah, you know, I called back right after I woke up, like, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was scheduled today, and, you know, I just woke up. Well, I go in there and I talk to my supervisor today and explain to him what happened. What I get back is along the lines of, well, I don't believe you. You would have heard your phone go off, or at least you would have woken up to go to the bathroom or something before you woke up at 1:30, and, you know, it's unacceptable. This is a BS story, blah, blah, blah. I don't buy it for a second. I'm like, dude, you're really calling me a liar right now? Really? Like, if I had had a physical copy of the schedule that showed that I was on Sunday, I would have been there. No questions asked. I understand if you want to give me a write-up for not being there, that's fine. But the fact that I called you the moment I woke up, and the thing that you're mad about is the fact that I apparently woke up several times during my sleep because, you know, every healthy 24-year-old has trouble with waking up middle of sleep to go to the bathroom every night, and there's no one who sleeps sound enough to not hear a cell phone halfway across the room. But, like, you know, I understand if you want to give me a write-up for it. That makes sense. That was really stupid. But to sit there and just say that, you know, I couldn't have possibly slept and yada yada, that is really frustrating to me, because you should not treat your employees like that. Let's be honest here. If you are running a business, you should not be questioning your employees on if they are able to sleep through the night without urinating, which is, quite frankly, kind of a ridiculous thing to even consider as a problem. Like, oh, nope, you must have woken up because you had to go to the bathroom at some point. Like, really? Yeah, maybe if I was, you know, in my 50s or, hell, even my 40s, that might be an issue to consider, but in my 20s, yeah, I'm not going to wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Oops. Okay, so how do I need to do this? This is ridiculous. Oh, come on. Why am I failing this hard at this level? But yeah, so needless to say, I was rather aggravated when I left work today. I got sent home actually for being so aggravated, which is kind of funny to me. Hey, you're upset with the way we handled things. Why don't you go home so you can be more upset and we can actually talk to you and try to work out why you're upset? Because that's how logical management should go. If there's a problem, don't deal with it. Throw the person out. Which actually brings me to the other point of the day that really kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, where I was in our convenience store talking to the supervisor of that profit center and about what had happened, as, you know, you are pretty much supposed to do when you have a situation where you're unhappy with something that a management person has done. You are supposed to talk to someone in management who is not involved about what happened and get their opinion on it and such. So I'm standing in there talking to my convenience store supervisor, and one of the other supervisor on the location, the third of the three, comes in and he's like, well, you know, if you aren't on the clock and you aren't on break, you're loitering to be here, so I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Actually, no, he wasn't even that polite. Let me rephrase that. Hey, are you on the clock? No. Are you on break? No. Well, I'd really prefer if you got out of here, so why don't you just go? Well, I was just talking to Pat about, you know, some really frustrating stuff that just happened with work, and, you know, well, yeah, you just have to get out of here, go on. And he just kind of pointed to the door and pushed me away, which, once again, employee handling excellence by this company, who shall remain nameless to those of you who are unaware of the company I work for. But, you know, I was a manager there for 4 years. The only reason I'm not anymore is because I left for a while to try to figure out something else to do in terms of job and, you know, how to go about continuing schooling, what I wanted to do with that, yada yada. So, you know, before I left, I was a manager for about 4 years. And the number one tenet was always with our old supervisor at that time that you need to take care of your employees and you need to worry about your employees' concerns. And, you know, if there's an issue with a manager, take the time to talk to another manager, another profit center who wasn't involved in the situation, so that you can kind of let out your frustrations and understand what's going on and everything. And apparently that motto has now changed to, well, if you're frustrated with something, just kind of bury it inside and never speak of this again. Oh, I am doing real poorly. But yeah, like, you know, it's just the employee handling of that place has gone down so far under this new supervisor. And it's not just him. I mean, there were some downsides before he left. But in terms of just general all-purpose employee handling, not so much the location running itself, there has been a severe decrease in quality of understanding how to deal with employees. It's not even a matter of, I think it's like malicious, I think it's just a complete lack of understanding for how employee situations are meant to be dealt with. And that's really disappointing, coming from, you know, a company that I've spent probably going on the order of 6.5 years of my life with, to be sitting here talking about how one of the managers has no idea how to handle employees, when I, several ranks below what he is now, had no problem with it while I was a manager. In fact, that was kind of what I was known for. Anytime there was an employee situation and I was there and our supervisor wasn't, it was pretty much me who was called in to take care of it. So not only is it a matter of, you know, me getting treated poorly, but it's a matter of I was good at handling employees, and now I'm seeing what it's like dealing with someone who has no idea And it's not fun. It's not fun at all. I am surprised that more people haven't quit than what have. You know, one of our managers just demoted himself, probably in part because he wanted to get away from this new supervisor of ours, because now he only wants to work in another profit center. You know, we've had several people fired for just ridiculous stuff. It's going downhill real fast. So on the bright side, I do get to talk to someone a bit higher up than my supervisor tomorrow and explain what I've been noticing to him and see if there's not something we can get done about it. You know, I don't really want the guy to get fired. I don't hate him, but I would love to see someone talk to him and teach him how to handle employees with decency. Okay, and we are doing decently on this level, I think. So now we need to land this jump. Oh, come on. Yerp. Well, this run is going to come to an end rather disappointingly. We're only at 500,000. And I don't see us getting much beyond that. There we go. At least we made it through that level okay. Now it's the time to shine. We just need to start doing really well. And we'll be okay. Like, we can go through the next, like, 10 levels without a death. That'll be huge. Well, there's one level down. That moment when you forget to press jump after bouncing off the fly. I shouldn't have gone back for that. But yeah, so this is once again kind of turned into a little bit of a rant episode, but I feel like it's a good thing that I kind of have a game that allows me to just sit around and talk freely and not worry too much about commentating what's actually going on in the gameplay. That was a horrible jump. Because it does allow me to kind of show my personality a bit better than a lot of games where I'm spending most of my time focusing on just explaining what's going on. And Cloudberry fills that void nicely. This run is almost at an end. I can guarantee that we aren't going to be going much longer here. Oop, oop, oop. Jump, jump, go. I don't know how much longer Cloudberry Kingdom will be around on the channel. I have started to kind of move away from having a consistent series at the moment, just because if I can only do, you know, one video a day, to have one series that's uploading daily and nothing else getting shown off in the meantime is a very big negative, I feel. So I'm trying to keep games a little bit more varied than they were, say, during my Rogue Legacy Let's Play. Similarly, Isaac is in kind of a weird place in my head right now, because on one hand I love Isaac, but on the other hand there's really nothing that surprises me in Isaac left, and so I feel like it's not the most engaging content because it's all just me kind of like, okay, I know what's going to happen at every turn. And so I kind of feel like between that and the fact that there are an absurd amount of Isaac Let's Players that you can watch, I kind of feel like keeping the Isaac series going is kind of foolish. On the other hand, obviously, when Rebirth comes out, we will be thoroughly covering Rebirth. That's an absolute guarantee. But how long it'll be till Rebirth comes out, I'm not sure. I don't think there has been any update on that since when it was first starting, and it was said to be approximately the end of this year, which is drawing closer with no word yet on it coming out. So we can't be sure. Okay, so I'm messing this up horribly on what is actually a really easy level. I just need to delay my jump a little bit, and whoa. Oops. Oh, come on. Is it just me? Let's look at the bright side, guys. At least our score started with 69. One more run, because I am feeling this, and I am having fun just kind of blabbing. But, I will not accept a death on the first level. Just won't happen. Ready, go! Anything less than perfection on the first level is a sign of a bad run ahead. So I do hope you guys are enjoying this style of commentary where I just kind of blab about whatever comes to mind. I know that it can be kind of silly at times, but at the same time it is, I think, kind of a way to show off my personality a little bit more than just talking about gameplay as mentioned. So give me 1 second real quick. Oops. So this run is kind of overlapping with something I didn't think would happen just yet, which is messages starting to flow in. So we may end up calling this quits if things go poorly here quickly, and continuing it if they go well. I am not sure which is going to happen yet, obviously, but if things start to go poorly pretty early... Ooh, that was almost a start to that. Then we will consider holding off on more of this until next time. I do apologize for the stoppages here, but the girlfriend just started messaging me and I do kind of need to respond to that. And so let us keep going along here. We are going to jump up here. And so yeah, there's kind of a lot of craziness going on in terms of both my work and plans to make a game and all this crazy stuff going on. But what does hold true is that no matter what, I will be doing everything I can to keep this channel up and running. I have no intentions to stop, because honestly, Let's Playing has become kind of extremely fun to me. It was fun to start out with, but the more I've done it, the more I've got comfortable with it, the more fun it's become. And so I definitely want to keep up with it as long as I possibly can. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I know I don't have that many subscribers, but I hope those of you who do stop in and watch videos, you know, every day, every couple days I post one, are enjoying the content I do produce. I do urge you to leave me messages if there's anything you'd like to see done differently or anything handled differently, because any kind of feedback will help me to grow better. Unless it's just, you know, you suck, I hate you, you go die in hole. Then I'll just kind of ignore you and laugh and be like, I love internet trolls. But, yeah, so any kind of advice or suggestions you want to ask, let me know. I do still need to get around to recording Rock of Ages, which one of my friends gave me for the channel. Not that I don't want to give it a shot for the channel, because I've actually seen the game in action a little bit before, and it looks fun, like something that would be fun to show off a bit of. At the same time, I've had kind of an influx of newer games and haven't been seen as much lately, and that has kind of prevented me from showing off some of the older ones I've got around. I also picked up a few during the Steam sale that are older that I personally had never heard of through any of the channels that I follow. So that's not to say no one else has heard of them, but it's definitely a reason that I would like to show them off in case you haven't. But that'll come down to if I get time where there's a break in new releases enough, or games I'm covering more extensively enough to really show them off. Which reminds me, next week, actually no, later this week, my bad. Yeah, Thursday, we get Papers, Please full version. We get the PC version of Spelunky, and we get, what's the other one? Guacamelee for PC, all released on the same day. So for those of you who don't own an Xbox 360, you can play the HD remake of Spelunky. For those of you who don't own a PS3, you can now play Guacamelee. And for everyone, you can now play a full version of what was one of the most interesting betas that I've played in recent years. For those of you who don't know, the Papers, Please beta was available to the public for free. And it was one of the more interesting games to come out recently in terms of idea. If you're not aware, essentially what Papers, Please is a game where you are a border control agent checking passports and documents of people entering the country. And there are some randomized story elements, or at least I believe, or they may be scripted actually. I know at least some of them seem to be scripted in the beta. But yeah, you're going to get these story elements to pop up as well, where, you know, there is a new document that you need to ask for, or there is, you know, something crazy that's going on. I think at one point there was an athlete who was convicted of murder that has fled his home nation that you have to keep an eye out for. Stuff like that. And it does present you with some interesting choices as well in terms of, you know, X person has passport that's valid, Y person, who is their husband or wife or whatever, does not. You know, you let person A through, but do you let person B through and suffer a penalty and less money for the day, or do you refuse person B like you should and tear that family apart but not lose money? And all of this is balanced over a metagame in which you need to handle the division of your resources in order to provide things like food, heat, what else is there? Food, heat, medicine if someone gets sick to your family. And you do this based on the wages that you make on each day of processing. And you get more wages the more people that you process, and you get more wages for the less errors that you make. So obviously, if you are making errors, whether purposefully or accidentally, you are cutting down your ability to feed your family, which is, you know, relatively realistic. That was really dumb of me. So it is really one of the more interesting little game ideas to have come out this year. And I can't wait to play the full version, honestly. It looks... the game in beta was really cool. You know, it's not the most exciting, engaging gameplay of all time, but it's not meant to be. If it was, it wouldn't convey the mood that it does as well. So, it is, in its own right, a very fun game. I please ask you when I eventually do a video on that to make sure to give it a shot. Don't just write it off because it looks boring. Because it is a really fun game. And now up here, and okay, I got this one down. This run is going decently well. We're up to 490,000 on level 43. It's not great, but it's not bad. Oh dear lord. Why do I always try to go back for the gems when I miss them? Okay, not going back for it. I learned my lesson. So, let us run through this level real quick. Bouncy, bouncy. Spelunky, obviously, for those who haven't seen, is a really interesting, randomly generated action platformer. In which you are trying to move downwards from the mines, through the jungle, the ice caves, into the temple, and if you really go the hard route, in this re-release, if you've played the original but not the Xbox version, there is Hell, where you can get to, which is which is really difficult to even get to, nonetheless to survive and beat. So there is a lot to be offered in the game. I apologize for just hitting up against my microphone there. That was my bad. Whoops. Going back for the gem, as usual, cost me. That time I just jumped too high. What the... And we can run here. But yeah, Spelunky is one of the best Xbox Live Arcade games out there. I'm very glad to see it coming to other platforms now, especially Steam, where it's going to get a lot more coverage from people, a lot more availability that will allow more people to play the game and have fun with it. In addition, for the PC version, for the PC version, you are going to have what is called a daily challenge, where it's going to create a randomly generated map that everyone can play the exact same map, and try to score attack and time attack it, which is a really cool idea that I'm glad they implemented, because it does add a layer of better comparison than what you would have seen in the 360 version, where the scores are compared, but if you had a really lucky run, you might have a much higher chance of getting a high score than someone who didn't. And so, it's definitely something that allows for a lot more competition in the game, which is not a bad thing by any means. Oh, come on! What am I supposed to do here? If I run in time, I run out of space. And if I don't run in time, then I die. Okay, there we go, finally. Okay, so back to the game here. I do apologize for the repeated pausings. I know it's probably not that fun to watch. Okay. My computer decided to steal focus from the Cloudberry Kingdom window for a while, and that made it really laggy. Oh, come on. We are down to 22 lives. 21 and the 0 life, of course. Oh, come on. Why? Now I'm just playing poorly. In parts I'm trying to rush because, I do want to end this video now so that we can stop with the random pausings that I know are annoying to watch. Obviously, to me, it's kind of something that I have no problem doing, but to you guys who are watching who have no attachment to the situation, not so much. Oh my dear lord. Finally. Oh. What? Time I died because I forgot that this one delays just a slight second before putting the spikes down. You know what? You know what? I will wait. I will sit there and wait instead of running through like I should be able to. And I will sit there and wait for your spikes to go back down instead of trying to make it over before they go up as I had been. Troll ghosts are troll. Well, you guys saw that, right? How there was just that one ghost visible, and then as soon as I jumped, it's like... Ghost levels! Thank you. Oh! So many lasers! There we go. Okay, and onward we go. This level is going to fall really quick, so we need to just keep moving. And we should time ourselves with the lasers perfectly. Good. Oh, that laser cut off just in the nick of time. I actually rather like these levels because normally speaking, when you're playing these levels, you should be in a position where running straight forward will get you through. All that one was kind of trolly compared to most. Oh my god! Well, that was rather silly of me. Okay, so it's starting to become like a rage through, which is not good. I don't like to do that kind of content, but this is getting frustrating. Finally. So yeah, another channel news, you know, I do want to once again thank both Brute Force Games with Crypt of the Necrodancer and Ben Johnson with Sky Nations for the codes they have given me. It's you know, it can get kind of expensive to try out a lot of new games when you aren't a big channel and you aren't really getting media requests. But the fact that there are some people, some devs out there who are willing to give smaller YouTubers a look is really cool to me. It gives me a chance to kind of show some content that I probably wouldn't have been. Really? The first time I did this, that worked perfectly fine. Okay, but yeah, it does give smaller YouTubers like myself kind of a chance to show off more games that maybe, you know, we aren't sure that we would have been able to beforehand. And obviously Crypt of the Necrodancer, in that case, it is a preview build that doesn't really count as a, you know, giving away a full code, because obviously I will still buy that game in the long run unless I get a review code for it eventually. But, where was I going with this? Yeah, so it's nice to have kind of that support from developers, even though I'm a small channel, to show that, you know, they do want to help out kind of in return, I guess you could say. You know, the Let's Play community does tend to help out indie developers quite a bit, so it's kind of nice to see, you know, the ones trying to... Why does this always happen the same way when I do everything the best I can possibly do it? Like when I hit that last block, I just get hit by the thing there. So if I don't die from just, you know, my accelerated jump hitting too high, there we go. Thank you. I didn't get all the gems, but at least I got through the level without dying anymore. But yeah, so it's really nice to know there are some developers out there at least who are willing to help out smaller channels as much as they're willing to give their codes to big channels, because it really does help me to try to show off a wider variety of games on the channel that, you know, maybe I wouldn't have been able to show off to you guys and otherwise. You know, Sky Nations looked cool. I looked it up when he was asking on Twitter about if anyone was looking for, and if there were any Let's Players who wanted a review code, and it looked cool, but I don't know if it's something I could have justified in my current situation spending the money on at the moment. Even if I could have in the long run, it would have been something that wouldn't have been up and shown nearly as quickly as it was from having the code there. So I do appreciate that there are developers wanting to take their chances with smaller channels and giving codes, and that is something that I will appreciate for as long as I'm doing these Let's Plays. Whether, you know, I get bigger and it's not that big of a surprise anymore or not. But at least for right now, while I'm small, and it's really, really helpful because I don't really get the chance to have that kind of a code given very often. Just did the same thing again. Oh man, that was a bad game. But yeah, just to finish up that thought, it is nice to have the chance to show off games that I'm not sure I otherwise could have. So any kind of developer will have my eternal gratitude for any kind of codes or preview builds that they give me to check out, because it's really, really helpful to me to be able to check out those games. And for those of you watching, of course it is very helpful when you watch. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of Cloudberry Kingdom. Not nearly as good as we did on the last episode, also a rather long episode when I said it was going to be short. It happens. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you've had a good one, and I will see you on the next episode. Later.